Welcome to Awkwardish. My name is Ruby, and I'm a blogger, vlogger, and peer specialist who focuses on mental health, substance use, domestic violence, and a few other subjects. Thanks for joining us. Let's get started. Alright, so welcome to the Awkwardish podcast. I'm, of course, Ruby. Here we talk about mental health, substance use, domestic violence, and pretty much everything in between. And today I have my friend Tosh with me. We're going to talk about depression. Say hey, Tosh.
Hi everybody. This is my first time on the podcast thing. I never done a podcast before.
Do you know how many people say that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? So how do we know each other, Tosh?
We know each other through rehab.
Yep.
We went to rehab together.
It's been, almost 4 years ago. That feels like it was just yesterday, though.
I know. Oh.
And now we're in school together. I was like so happy to see you the other day.
I know, I was too. I was like, what the hell? I didn't see the freaking first class before, you know?
Yeah, I didn't go to the class before. Long story with that.
Yeah.
So first thing we're going to do is, if you would like, you can share your story about your experience with depression.
Oh, okay. Well, currently though, my situation is even more intense because I decided to get the depot shot for birth control.
Yeah,
I know everybody, all these women are telling me like that's the worst one to get, and I'm like, I didn't even know that.
It is, and it really messes with your emotions. So if you already have a mood disorder, it really messes with it.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I went to the doctor, all they told me was that, it might affect your bone mass or something like that, and you should take a lot of calcium. They didn't say anything about it affecting my depression or affecting my hormones like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like it doesn't even occur to them, which is why it's so important to talk about things like this, because a lot of the time, people who don't deal with behavioral health or mental health issues, they don't even consider that, hey, something that messes with your hormones might mess with your brain chemistry and affect if you have depression or anxiety, it could make it worse. So that is why it's so important for us to talk about this.
I know, I had a nervous breakdown over my check engine light coming on in my car. I started bawling like a baby.
Oh my gosh.
Like any little minor convenience, I'm breaking down and I'm throwing this huge baby fit that I haven't thrown in years. You know what I'm saying? Before I was even into my drug use, like, you know what I'm saying? Like my teen years. Like,
yeah. And then people who don't understand, they look at you like you're quote unquote crazy, because to a lot of people, because they can't see it, they doubt that it's real. But I'm getting ahead of myself, so you're gonna listen to your story.
Yeah. Well, all I could say is like it started at at age 6 when I was living with my parents, my mom and my dad in Richmond, California. And I guess one day my mom just like came in the house and packed me and my siblings, my sister and my brother, packed all our things and took us by train to California. To Nevada. And we're like, what the hell's going on here? She kidnapped us basically from our dad while he was in jail. And took us to her boyfriend's house, who was like 9 years younger than her, 10 years younger than her. And it was really crazy transition because this family was different from mine. Even though my family, in California with my dad and stuff, loved to party and drink beer and, do some crazy, things. Mm-hmm. They were nowhere near like the family we went to, this all white family. My family I grew up with, they were black or, Mexican. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then suddenly you're taken somewhere where there's only white people, which is
that's
got to be a huge transition.
It was a huge transition. Yeah, it freaked me out actually. And
Yeah.
and you know, this family we went to, there was a lot of abuse. Like it was okay to like put your hands on kids and like yell in their face and, you know, just crazy things. You know, we transitioned into that, and there was a lot of abuse from my mom's boyfriend. You know, and she was pretty aware about it, but she didn't really do much. Oh, so that went on for years and years. Okay, up until I was about. That was when he couldn't touch me anymore. But however, there was still a lot of verbal abuse, and yeah, I didn't like. I couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand being with that family. I couldn't stand being in that area. You know what I'm saying? My mom had to take me out of school because there were no black kids there in Nevada in the school.
Yeah, so obviously you're there feeling like, oh gosh, feeling like you stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it freaked me out. Yeah.
And then dealing with all that trauma that compounded over the years, of course it's going to affect you, your developing brain as you're a child. Jeez. See, I'm. This was the first time that you told me like everything. I've heard that you've told me bits and pieces over the years, but wow.
Yeah, I thought about going into detail, but I mean, I remember as a kid, you know, when you didn't want to go home from school because of that. Like,
yeah,
we would take the bus home, and the bus driver didn't like when we cussed, right? Mm-hmm. So I would cuss on purpose, so she would pull over and make us wait. And you know what I'm saying? That would like stall time for my mom to get home because he wouldn't put his hands on us when my mom was home. So I would cut on purpose to stall the ride home. I couldn't stand being at home. And of course, you know, your home life has a huge effect when you're going to school and you can't focus and you do terrible in school. Like,
yeah. And then I'm guessing that they probably didn't react well to you not doing well in school too.
Oh yeah, he made it worse. Absolutely.
So it was like a cycle, like because you're not doing well in school because of him, but then he gets mad because you're not doing well in school, and there's all this dysfunction.
Absolutely, it was just survival. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
survival. I swear, and. Yeah, by the age of, you know, I didn't even start using drugs or drinking alcohol till I was like 19.
Okay, so you're like me. You waited until you were an adult, but oh gosh, when I think about it, I don't know how I made it through. There were years in between where I was undiagnosed with mental illness and I didn't use any drugs or anything. And I'm like, how did I survive? It's crazy that as former addicts, we're like, how did I survive when I wasn't doing drugs, you know? But it's like, wow. I mean, because we had no coping mechanisms and we were children, I guess we had no choice but to deal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like stages, you know what I'm saying? Like before I was using, I was miserable. And then when I started using, I was happy. So I'm like, I'm going to stay in this tray right here. I never knew happiness, you know, like, or I never knew freedom. And I experienced it through my drug use, which is crazy. And
it sounds crazy, but it's not, because the same thing happened to me, you know?
Yeah. I'm like, I love this. I'm going to stay in this lifestyle. This is the happiest I'm going to get, you know, being homeless, you know, that freedom. I loved it. I actually had my spiritual awakening while I was using, which is really confusing for most, you know, so it's hard for me to find a spiritual awakening through step work. I don't feel it as much. I had that spiritual awakening while I was using. And then when I got clean, I got another happy life, you know, compared to my life using and the life I had before using. So it was like transition to happiness. It was like I went from miserable to kind of miserable to happy. These are different.
Yeah, that's so many of our stories. So, but at what point were you diagnosed with depression?
Diagnosed officially? When remember we went to the
that was the day. Oh, okay. Oh my God. I actually was just writing about that in my book.
Yeah. Yeah, when you
um,
supported me to what was the name? What was the name of that freaking that
um, the Miller Wellness Center.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I was a freaking nervous wreck. I was just having anxiety and I was like, oh, that's when I
And you
was
were like, we should just leave. We should just leave. And I was like, no, no, we're not gonna leave.
yeah, that was when I was officially diagnosed. But I'm aware that before I was diagnosed, I had this issue, you know?
Yeah. And it's so crazy how in hindsight you're like, wow, I dealt with this for all those years. Because yeah. So when do you think you became aware that this wasn't just caused by drug use? I'm actually like depressed, and then began to try to self medicate, or was it not a conscious thing?
Oh, I was aware I was depressed. I was aware I was depressed even at, a younger age. I was aware. I'm like, there's definitely something wrong with me. And I know it was because of the treatment I was getting growing up, the neglect, the lack of validating how I felt about things. My mom was really good at avoiding that. And so I discovered, what I'm saying, it started with drinking, hanging out with my friends, drinking. And I fell in love right away with this substance
Mm-hmm.
that gatewayed into meth use.
Yeah. Oh gosh,
And
it is
it
crazy how similar our stories are. Coming back from our break, um, how do you currently deal with your mental health? What are your current strategies? Are you in therapy? Do you take medication? How do you how do you cope now?
oh, I definitely take medication.
As do I,
Yeah,
and I
I
talk
take
about that quite a bit.
duloxetine and clonidine for anxiety, but what you know what I was thinking? It's hecka funny and random, right?
Hmm.
Like if I don't have my medication, I I really get I really feel like I get withdrawals. Like my head gets dizzy and I become way more emotional than I should, and I'm just sitting here thinking, "Oh my god, what if there was like a zombie outbreak or what I'm saying, something crazy happening and I don't have the energy to deal with it."
Yeah, see, and I know for a lot of medications, a lot of psych medications do have withdrawal symptoms. So you could be feeling that, or it could be that our medication basically keeps our symptoms at bay and makes them, you know, to where they're bearable, so that we can live. So when we miss medication, those symptoms come flooding back to us.
Mhm.
Um, that's something I'm realizing too, because I've been having some struggles with med compliance, and I wasn't realizing that my anxiety over driving to Pleasant Hill was
Mhm.
it was so much worse on the days that I missed my medications, and I it's like obvious, right? We should know better, but I didn't. It just like it happened on Monday. I took my medication and I was fine driving, and I was like, oh my gosh, I should probably do this every day.
I know it sucks too. At the same time, to know you become dependent on on medication. It's not like it's not bad, but like sometimes it's like, whoa, okay, wow, this is official. I really need this.
Yes. Yes, that's always been my struggle. My struggle has always been I don't want to have to take all these pills for the rest of my life, because it always made me feel like I was just this such sick person. I was so crazy that I had to take all these pills. And it got a little better over the summer when I got a new psychiatrist, and she was able to consolidate some of my doses into like one pill instead of two or three.
Hmm.
Because when I was going to Pittsburgh Health Center, they were just like, they didn't really think about things like that. They'd be like, "Oh, we're gonna double your dose, so just take two of them now." And it's like, yeah, but now I'm taking two pills, and that messes with me psychologically.
It's like they didn't have time or something. They're like, just
You
get out of
know,
here. Just
like
get out.
just change the prescription, please. And they're like, "Nah, just take two or take three." Like what?
Oh my god, this girl again. You know what I mean? Like, come on. God.
like, here, just take some more drugs.
Yeah. Here, we'll try this instead, like experimenting with you, you know, and then you find the one that makes you the most okay. And you have this anxiety in your head, you know, that what if there's better out there? And
Yeah. Oh my God, I thought I was the only one who'd be like, this works, but what if there's, or you hit that plateau after you've been taking a medication that's been working for you, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. That happened to me with Seroquel. Like all of a sudden it wasn't working.
Oh God, that stuff had me swinging in my sleep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried doubling and tripling my dose, and then they were like, you know what, we're just gonna give you something else. This isn't working. That happened to me with trazodone too.
And it sucks because it takes a while for like these things to take effect. You know, it's like I gotta wait 2 weeks to see if it works. What if it doesn't?
And then if it doesn't, you gotta try something else, and it's like, oh, here we go.
Wait another 2 weeks to see if it works. It's like you're like a guinea pig. I swear to God.
Yeah. Sometimes I really wish that psychiatry was a more exact science. But until it is, we gotta deal with this.
Right. Man.
So yeah, one of the things that made me want you on this topic, besides the fact that we both have dealt with depression for quite some time, was I heard you talking in class to someone about toxic positivity, and I was like, oh my God, because most people don't know what you mean when you say that.
Yeah, it exists. I didn't know it existed until, you know what I'm saying? I always had a feeling when, you know, someone tells me something like that. You know, I remember in the beginning, I heard about, the positivity about, well, some people out there have this mindset where they just avoid negative feelings and negative thoughts altogether and just refer to positivity. And
yeah, just focus on the positives, be grateful. And it's like, you know what, that is not how depression works.
Exactly. It's like avoiding reality. It's like, no, yes. I'm a human being. I feel this way and it should be validated instead of avoided. And, you know, changing that mindset. I understand that, you know, thinking positive can help, but if avoiding this negative feeling or these negative thoughts completely is not how you solve the problem.
It's not healthy. Yeah, it's not healthy at all. It's denial taken to the extreme.
Denial.
And then it's spread out to other people, because when you're telling someone that you're struggling and you really need someone to be there for you, you don't need for them to throw some platitudes at you or dismiss your feelings. You need them to be there for you or say that they can't and let you find someone who can, instead of making you feel like crap or like you're a failure because you can't think positively enough to get out of your depression.
Yeah, and I was telling my boyfriend the other day, because he works at Burger King and he hates it. And he's like, I'm just trying to be positive about it. I'm like, no, forget that. Feel mad. It's okay to be mad.
Exactly.
Feel mad.
That's a normal part of the human condition, you know, negative emotions and positive emotions. How can you even enjoy the positive if there is no negative?
Exactly. I know, like, it's like, I've known negative like the back of my hand. It's what I'm best at. You know what I'm saying? So like, I mean, I feel like it's okay. It's like, it's realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to feel depressed. I'm going to feel sad about this. I'm going to be irritated about that. And it's normal. And I'm just sitting there reminding my boyfriend, you know, I'm like, be mad. It's okay. We'll freaking talk shit together. Shit. You know, excuse my language. Sorry.
It's okay. You can cuss in here. Okay. This is not a children's show.
All right, right on.
Okay, tell me how you feel about this phrase. I have been depressed before. I don't see why it's such a big deal for you.
Wait, what?
I've actually, oh my God, I've had probably more than 5 people say that to me over the years. Where I'll say, you know, I'm really struggling with my depression, and they'll be like, well, I mean, I don't see what your problem is. I've been depressed before.
What, are they not depressed anymore? What, are they cured?
It's people confusing sadness with major depressive disorder, and they don't understand that being sad is not the same as struggling with a mental health disorder. So if you say, oh, I'm really struggling with my depression, what are you depressed about? It doesn't work that way. You're still depressed? I mean, dang, it's been like a month. And it's like, yes.
how did you get rid of it? Like, you know what I mean? I would have been like, how did you get rid of your depression? There's no cure.
Oh my gosh, you don't even want to go down that road with these people. These are the same people who think that depression isn't really an illness. It's just people wallowing.
It's a physical brain chemical reaction.
Oh, man.
Literally out of our control. That makes me mad. That's toxic positivity right there.
Yeah, it's dismissive. It's beyond toxic. My cat's walking over. She's wondering why I'm yelling.
I know, my dragon's sleeping. My dragon's sleeping in my bed. He's all, what the hell, man? What the hell are you talking about over there? Yeah, he's sleeping. Oh, he's so cute. Oh.
I know, he's huge now because he was already huge last summer.
I know, he's a pookie butt.
For the audience, we're talking about a bearded dragon that she has.
Yeah, my little.
I forgot his name.
He's my little. His name's Odavie.
Oh yeah, see, I wasn't gonna remember that.
Oh, of course, it took me like 3 weeks to say it right, but I gave him that name.
Okay, yeah, then I'm definitely not gonna be able to say it. So, here's another issue that I've had in the past. Have you ever had anyone tell you that you weren't really struggling because you didn't present the way that they thought someone with depression should present? Like, because your depression looked different than what they thought depression should look like, they concluded that you weren't really struggling, or you weren't going through this, or you weren't having a nervous breakdown or whatever, because they knew somebody way, way long ago who went through it and they didn't react the way that you react.
I can't say I experienced it like that, but I have experienced, I have experienced being dismissed by my mother. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure she knew I was depressed, but she didn't take it as a big deal. And that I'll be fine. I still have clothes on my back. I still have food on the table. Like, all these things were more important to her than emotions. And I didn't give a damn about any of that. I didn't give a damn about, having clothes on my back from the thrift store, or, you know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't the deal.
Yeah, you needed to be somewhere where you felt safe and comfortable and didn't feel like, you didn't have all this trauma being piled on you.
Right. And my dad, even though my dad didn't have any of these things, we wanted to be with my dad all the time. We didn't care if he didn't have a house. We didn't care if he didn't have a car. We didn't care if he didn't have money. We didn't care about that. We wanted to feel safe and loved. And through my dad was willing to do that. My mother, however, was not. So she had this delusion in her head that she was doing much better than my dad when she really wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a mother, no. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure my mom was aware of my depression. I don't think I've ever. Are you talking about comparing experiences, comparing who's going through it worse?
That's happened to me too. But no, I just meant someone saying, I knew someone who went through this years and years ago, and you don't seem to be going through it like they were, so it must not be that bad.
Oh shit! Excuse my language. Oh,
okay.
No, I've never had that happen to me, but I have had people compare their experiences to mine.
Yes, the what is it? The Oppression Olympics, where they have to one up you on a bad experience instead of just hearing you out.
That's like my mom. She's all, it's like the whole I used to walk to school in the snow, you know what I mean, kind of thing.
Oh gosh. Okay, yeah. I've dealt with that too. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom really used to say that. We really believed her. Come on now. Fuck.
Man. So just gonna find some resources on here that I wanted to share. But is there anything else that you wanted to add while I'm looking those up?
Remember that you're feeling, your depression is valid, your feelings are valid, and whatever you feel in your gut when someone tries to school you on it, they don't know it any better than you do. And understand that it's real, and don't fall for the toxic positivity. Remember that what you're going through is real.
That's right, and it is okay to not be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have to. if you feel like falling apart, I mean, if you're around someone you feel safe falling apart with, then do that. And if not, then there are so many places and so many people who are willing to help, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
So I did want to share some information though. The number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, it's 800-273-TALK. So again, 800-273-7255. You can find international hotlines by going to suicide.org. You can text "Hear Me" to 839-863 to reach Dee Hirsch Mental Health Services. And there are so many other resources on my website, awkwardgroup.com. So I just wanted to make sure that I got those out for anyone who's listening, for anyone who needs help. There is help available. So I'm gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and wrap up the podcast now. It was so nice having you on, Tosh. I am so glad that I heard you talking about that the other day, because I was really trying to figure out who to have as a guest, and you're perfect.
Thanks. How'd I do? No.
You did great.
Oh, right on. I was hoping. I'm like, this is my first time. I got all pumped up, I'm pretty sure my dragon is annoyed, but hey. He's so used to my shit, man. He's so used to it. Oh yeah. Yeah, he is.
He's like, that's just mom being mom.
Yeah. He's so used to it. I know. He just ignores me now.
Okay, so thank you everyone for tuning in to Awkwardish, and stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great weekend. Say bye, Tosh.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.